Hey there, lads and lasses. This here is Thunderhand64 coming at you live from the west coast of the United States here on a Wednesday. It is a little bit past noontime, Pacific Standard Time. That can only mean that it's time for some Generations Minecraft server, and today we are in the Baby Zombie Rush beta world. Creative mode, doing our thing here. Welcome on in, fellow buffoon, real foolish sage. You can see the auto shout out up there, and of course, parrots. Glad to have you, as always. Let us switch the scene, shall we? Right about there. You don't want to look at this for 2 hours. Let's do that. There we go. Hey there. Yeah. There's that thing behind us. So cool. Last Baby Zombie Rush stream, 2 Wednesdays ago, we had finished the Aqua Parkour Dead End, which is a triumph of redstone technology. I think for me it is anyway. I'm very, very pleased with the way that this came out. Super, super cool. We then finished up the stream by working on the lightning strike. That's the drop trap. There should be a lightning strike and dead end here somewhere. Is this where it is? No button. I'll find it. Should be around here somewhere. I thought it was in this part of the maze somewhere. I really did think it was right here. But apparently not. I mean, it's not here. We can go look at the leaderboard. Figure out what we're supposed to be doing. Let's see. There's zombies and lightning. Oh my god. Well, there's absolute zombies, but the lightning, lava, void holes, ravagers, all kinds of fun stuff. So many ways to die. That's so evil. I love it. Oh, well, buckle up. Okay, so 12, dead end number 12 is supposed to be our lightning strike. I think I got that working. Yeah, here it is, right at the corner. I think I got this working just as we finish the stream. Yeah, something like that. I think that's a green light go. I wanted 4 spots for which that hit. Yeah, right where the player is, and then it looked like 3 more. Let's try it again. Yeah, there we go. Okay, 4 spots. Now, of course, you may be thinking, can we make Lex do it? We can ask. You know, invitation is certainly open. Yeah, you know, I'll send out the invitations, and it's, you know, it's not just for buffoons; it's for all Minecrafters, particularly viewers of the stream that I know quite well, right? So, if we've streamed together, or if you've been a viewer for quite some time, and I feel like I know you well enough on here where I can, then I will send the invitation, and then it'll be like a first come first serve thing, and we'll have to schedule. Appearances. I'm not sure it'll be that popular as far as you know, trying to get trying to manage a lot of contestants. I really don't think that's going to be happening, but you never know. If that does wind up happening, there'll probably be a big surge right at the beginning, but then it'll probably taper off. So this might wind up getting its own stream. So right now I alternate this every other Wednesday. So one Wednesday I will do Generations, the Survival 5, Generation 5, the Survival World, and then the alternating Wednesday I will do this, the Baby Zombie Rush Creative World. And when this is complete, then I will start inviting people on, and it may get its own stream. So at that point, I don't know, Kachi might be ready to take over Kachi Time himself, and he may be running that stream off of his own Twitch account with me moderating for him. And then this may take over the Sunday slot. I'm not sure. It depends. We'll have to see how it goes. Let us do this. Let's do 12. We'll do lightning. There we go. Strike. There we go. And we'll do this. We'll get some glow squiddy ink. Because this, I believe, is complete. And then, let me see. Is it just the regular green? I think it is. Green dot. Yeah, there we go. So we can do this, and we can do that, and we can get rid of that. Okay, there is a concern, a mild concern, that the player may spam the button. So I was thinking on putting an anti-spam situation in here for that. That will at least be on a timer where it'll be a one-hit kind of thing, and then there'll be a certain amount of time before the player can use it again. I might do that. However, you may have noticed that the player very likely will be standing here when they hit it. Chances are they won't be hitting that again anytime soon. Is it possible to do something like if you press it extra, it explodes you? Well, like I just demonstrated, even if you press it once, it'll probably explode you. It's very, very likely. Plus, the lightning has a proximity effect. You don't have to be right at ground zero. I think it has an effective radius of like a 3x3 or 1 block radius around the point. So I think this is pretty much going to do the player in, but that's something to consider. If I'm willing to leave that for the first run, Kumakwa, to see what happens when a player first uses this. If I do get a button spamming kind of situation with this, then I'll change it. But I think I'm content to leave it like this right now. The Aqua Parkour button is a no-brainer. We definitely do not want this to be spammed. So I put in an extensive anti-button spamming and zone spamming features into this, so it can only really be used once. And then a countdown timer will go for a certain amount before it resets and can be used again. So that prevents that from being spammed. There's a couple of button spamming situations here that you really don't want the player to. All the buttons in the maze have strong risk factor. Yeah, you know, I'm kind of trying to do this in a way that is either beneficial, detrimental, or kind of a wash. Not necessarily benign, but it's kind of a wash. Like this lightning strike one, for example. This is kind of a wash, you know, it's going to kill the baby zombies, so it may not kill all of them, but it's equally likely, I would say, to kill them as it is. You sort of. I mean, there's 3 lightning bolts. You're standing at the 4th one. You know, if you could dodge it in time, a number of them might be taken out. So this one's kind of, yeah, I wouldn't say it's benign, but it's definitely not beneficial, nor is it detrimental. Right? So I kind of have some in there that are like that. The main goal with that is that it's funny. That's what has to happen there. Pros and cons, yeah. So instead of more like a binary kind of truth table, this would have like a ternary truth table. So instead of 1 and 0, it'd have -1, 0, and 1, right? So it'd be that kind of a thing. That's my intention, anyway. But some of these things, you know, as Bobby Burns put it, best laid plans of mice and men oft go awry. So it's one of those things we're going to have to try this in action and it's to see what happens with it. So have to keep the format because I'm OCD like that. There we go. I thought it would just be 2 bits. 100111. Good, not bad, not bad, good, good, bad. Well, if you were going to represent it in a binary, I suppose you could do something like that, right? I like how one of these is just nuke. Yes. Well, there is a command we can put in the command block that will just obliterate everything. And hence the question marks, I'm not sure I want to do that. I mean, I'm compelled by the hilarity factor of it. So you can imagine the player is running through the maze. I, as the host, will be, hovering above to give the players their view. There should be 2 views. There should be a view of the player if you're watching their stream, and my point of view if you're watching mine. And to see the player go into some dead end here, press the button, and then this whole thing just explode would be hilarious. Having to rebuild it afterwards would not. Even using Lightmatica would kind of suck, I think. I think there might be a way I could do that where I could put that on a command that would just regenerate it. I'm not really sure. I'd have to talk to a couple of Minecrafters like Boakars, maybe Nova, maybe Villager, a couple people like that, and to see what's involved in that. I will say this though, and it's been a while since we've reviewed some of this stuff, so your questions are well timed, actually, Parrots, because it's been a while since I've reviewed some of our ideas with the game. So we do have this maze here, and I would like the player to have 3 attempts, max, if they so choose. So I'm going to get the maze here finished, get all the features in place, and then I'm going to make 2 more copies of it, right over here in that orientation and right over here in this orientation. That way, when the player makes their run through, if they happen to die, they can just make their second attempt over at the other maze, and it's already reloaded. It's already primed, set to go. I don't have to go and restock all of the features and stuff like that. It's just sitting there waiting to go. They can then immediately head on in and make their second attempt. And again, if they die here and they want to make their third attempt, there's a third copy. And again, it's already stocked and reset, and ready to go. That way, you know, they can keep the stream going, right? Keep a backup of the world? Yeah, there is that, right? We could do that. Yeah, all right, we have some mod stuff we need to do. Bye-bye. Just keep a Word download ready and pop it back up after the nuke. Yeah, might be able to do that. That might be the easiest thing to do. I don't think there's going to be really anything else in this particular map other than this. So there's a high possibility of that happening, of that being a feature in here. The interesting thing's going to be making the scoring rubric for this. So one of the features on the rubric should be number of attempts, right? So that should definitely be a thing. What I would like to avoid, though, is having insequential attempts. Like a player would log on, do attempt number 1, and then say, okay, well, I'm out of time for the stream. I'll come back for the next stream and do attempt 2 or 3. Yeah, that I wouldn't like. I would ask that the contestant complete their trials in one stream. So there's things like that have to be considered that we haven't really worked out yet. So I'd like to do a little bit of cleanup here first, though. We'll get rid of some of this stuff, and then we'll consider the next feature to start. Let's just grab something like this, and we will do a little something like that. We'll get rid of some of this. Sometimes I will test things out outside of the maze here. It's just a little easier to do that. And we'll do... Awk, please, hands. Just calm down. There we go. Look at that. Got this here. Get ourselves some bounding boxes like that. We'll do that. Okay, we're cool there, and we'll also get rid of this. Same manner. Well, I guess I could have just done that. Whatever. All right. So we can just do this now. Nuke awards, like that. This like that, and we're good. Okay. Sage, thank you for the lurk. Okay. Next on the list, we have, let me see, drop into the void. So we already have a number of drop dead ends. Let me see. We have the TNT drop. So the player pushes the button, they drop down into a hole. TNT ignited gets dispensed onto them and blows them to Kingdom Come. Here we have a drop trap where the floor opens up, they drop into lava, they're incinerated, they're done. Here we have a drop feature that's not really a trap. Again, this one's, you know, kind of neutral. They drop down into a tunnel that leads them under the maze and brings them out into another part of the maze. That should seem kind of beneficial, and for the most part it is. However, the baby zombies can also fall down into the tunnel with them and pursue them through the tunnel. The tunnel is quite dark. It's made of black concrete. It's very disorientating. Yeah. In ternary, that would be the 0. So we have another feature, drop into the void. And then we have another feature, Ravager, where Ravagers appear and come on out to the after the player. We have years before built this a test world version of this, so we do have some features from that are now being implemented here in the beta version, and the Ravager feature is one of them. Some of them have been updated because the layout has changed. Before they were these, the maze alleyways and corridors were only 3 blocks wide. Now they're 4 blocks wide. Also, the height has changed. They're a slab lower, so a half a block lower than they were before. That changes a lot of features. So let me see. I'm thinking the Ravager would probably be an easier one to do today. Of course, the drop for the Void would too, but there's some redstone there involved. And it's not like I'm adverse to doing redstone on stream, because that's what this stream is all about. Yeah, we do a lot of redstone on this stream. The thing is, also we can, some of the drop traps or drop features you can see here are already in place. So there's no reinventing the wheel here. It's just a matter of copying these over, which I suppose wouldn't be that big of a deal. But, you know, that's one of those things where I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, oh, that should just take a few minutes. We should be able to finish that in stream. And then we don't. So I think I'll go with the Ravagers today. Because I feel like that's a sure bet of completing that during the stream. So let's work on Dead End 14 here. And if we happen to finish 14 early, we can start to set up for 13. So let's leave it at that. Let's go with that. There's 13. That's 12. So 14 must be coming back this way. That's 16 there. Is this 14? That's 15. Oh, and this is a particularly good one for the Ravager Ravager feature, because when the Ravagers spawn, they have a straight run right down here, and the player pretty much has a chance, or finds themselves in the pickle of running from the Ravager into the oncoming baby zombies. So the thing is, how merciful are we going to be with this? The instinct has been not much. Not very. However, I do have to remind myself, you know, Thunder, you have to give the player a chance. The player needs a chance, Thunder. So I got to think about this. So let's proceed with this. And what I'm thinking about is, should we give the player anything to probably try to help them survive? One other thing we might want to do is, but does it have to be a big chance? And that, Parrots, is the $1 million question, right? I mean, we did say a chance, but we never specified how big of a chance. So one of the things I need to do is refresh my memory on all things Ravagers. Now, if Nebula were here, I would not have to refresh my memory because she would just spout off everything in the chat about Ravagers that you would ever possibly want to know. Let me see. Large hostile mob, illagers, raids, players, villagers, wandering traders, iron golems. Oh, it attacks players, villagers, wandering traders, and iron golems. Now, it would be kind of cool if it attacked baby zombies. It would be kind of cool, but also not kind of cool. Wow, here's something I didn't know. A Ravager can sometimes become stunned if its attack is blocked with a shield. Wow. That might be something that we can use. So maybe, a shield could be dispensed somewhere, right? Now the player needs to know something about that shield, but the shield might help the player defend against the baby zombies, so at least the player could possibly get through the baby zombies. So it would be one of those things where we would have to, again, issue a shield, and then the shield would have its durability lowered, so it would only survive maybe 10 hits or something before it breaks. Right? Maybe we would give it more than 10 hits. So sometimes when I gift the player something, I like them to be able to clear whatever feature that is, and then carry it out into the maze a little bit further before it breaks. The other thing is, do we go with one Ravager or two? I'm thinking one is plenty. I think two is a little bit overkill because remember, it's very likely that the player will have the baby zombies running after them. They come down here, they press the button. Now, when they press the button, I would like the Ravager to appear behind them because the idea is the Ravager baby zombie sandwich is just funny looking. As far as effectiveness goes, though, I think it's a little better to have the Ravager in front of them. So I'm not sure. Not entirely sure there. Nope. That needs to go right here. That's what I want. What I really, really want. And then glow like that. Here we are. So much fun stuff. All right, let me take a look at the features. Where do I usually have this? 3 blocks over and 2 blocks up. So it's usually right there is where we place our buttons. And so, yeah, one of the things I'm trying to do is to try to keep things disorientating by making all the buttons look the same. Being in the same spot, the same look, everything, right? Anything to throw the player off a little bit. Sometimes I think I might overthink that a little bit because, running through the maze, being pursued by a horde of bloodthirsty baby zombies. I think that's a player doesn't really have a lot of time to think, but you would be surprised. The contestants, Buffoons and Friends, they're some pretty formidable players. They can do some pretty cool things. And making split-second, decisions under pressure, yeah, some of them are... I question whether they're human or not sometimes. Oh, one thing we do got to think of is we have a bunch of redstone on this side for that feature, so yeah, we have to plan out our redstone. And the other thing is we have another dead end here. Now this is cool. We have this whole long stretch to put our redstone, to install our redstone, but that's one of the things we have to do in this game. We have to think about, you know, other alleyways and stuff and leave room for other things. So now this one I could do with a dispenser, but the problem with a dispenser here is I'm not sure the egg hitting the slab would set it off, especially if it were shot out sideways from one of these walls. I already have an idea to make something look very silly, but let's try to just drop a Ravager egg onto the slab and see what happens. So Ravager, we'll get the Ravager egg, and I suppose we should keep this in the inventory for right now. What happens if I just do that? Yeah, just as an item, it's not going to work. Let's try a dispenser. We can put. Let's just try a dispenser. Yeah, that's not how you type dispenser hands. There we go. We could do that. We can just put a button on said dispenser. We will put in egg inside, and then we'll see what happens. Okay. There is that. So that will work. Right. I could take out a netherite sword and whack this guy, but it takes forever. Maybe during the break, I'll look up the command for that. That way we could just kill the Ravager each time, because otherwise... One of the other things we might want to do, too, is lower the Ravager's health. See, that takes a lot of time. One of the things I want to do is I want to see if I can spawn the Ravager up through the slab. So if I can do something like this. Like that, and then spawn it through a slab. And you know what? Maybe we can observe that happening from over here. Good. So I'm wondering if he's going to come up through the slab. I'm hoping he will. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. That is precisely what I want to have happen there. All right. I love it when things work on the first try. I'm just going to say. That's always satisfying. Yeah, see, we need that Ravager kill button. In fact, you know what? I could probably just look that up really quick. Let me do this. Got it. Okay, let's try this. And we shall install said command block. Let's, you know, also I'm thinking on, now the player will probably be here. So I would like, I'm hoping that the Ravager can appear right there. That would be cool. Yeah, you know, Ravager, if you could just go ahead and do that, that'd be great. Yeah. And for the moment, let's use a different type of slab just so we know. We'll just use the good old smooth stone slab right there. Okay, just so we know. And then maybe now I'm thinking there's going to be a bunch of redstone there. So if I do that, I think I get the same sign with the same properties, right? Yeah, I do. Okay, so I can get rid of that. Okay, I can come over here and get rid of all of those things, and then I can do this. Give myself a command block. And as far as this goes, we can put a command block maybe right there with a baton. All right. And that's just for now, while we're building. Of course, when we're ready to run the maze, that won't be there. And this is just a cleanup while we're experimenting, right? So according to this, we're supposed to be able to do /kill, and then we're supposed to put a space in here. And it's supposed to be entity right there. And then immediately we need a bracket. And then it's going to be type equals, and it should say Ravager. And that should do it. Okay, and that should do it. One of the other things I want to do is open that up because we're going to be flying through here constantly. So let's try it out. And again, this will be something where we don't want the player to spam the button. I doubt they're going to have the chance to spam the button. Really, to be honest with you, it might be like the lightning strike, but you never know. Nope, nope, nope. Yep, yep, yep. Okay, jar like this. I'll put this dude here. I forget how to do this. Something like that, I think. All right, let's see how it spawns him. I'm hoping it's not going to spawn him in the wall or on the wall. It's just going to put him right there because that's the best spawnable place. Yeah, see, this one kind of spawned him into the wall and stuff. Let's check this out now. Good. All right, that works. All right, so I'm thinking we're gonna... Now, the player's probably going to be here when they spawn him. So maybe right there is a good place. All right, let's try that, and let's see if that winds up working a little bit better. Okay, he spawns a little bit below the slabs, but then he pops up. I think that's okay. Yeah, I'm digging that. All right. Now the thing is the effect of the player standing here, and they won't get to stand long. They'll be baby zombies. But standing here like this, pressing the button, and then... Oh, there needs to be more. All right, so let's just load all of these in here now because we know that works. Oh, and also we have... This isn't hooked up at all. Okay. Again, you know, I could use a command block to spawn the Ravager there. But I like to use redstone wherever I can on this because redstone's fun. And by using redstone on this, we can also build in the anti-spam system. Right. Okay, now, again, I want to stay away from here if I can. So I'm going to try to build out and down that way, if at all possible. Let's see, let's do this. All right, so we do have this, and let me think. One of the things I like to do with this... I think if I do the... Hold on. If I just do the sticky piston right off the back of this, there might be a problem. Yeah, it might be able to see that. You might be able to see that from over here. Sometimes when I do this kind of activation, like with the Aqua Parkour here, what am I doing with this? Or let me grab another feature. Another dead end feature where I'm using a piston. Yeah, here we go. Some of these I use a piston to activate things. Okay, so I'm doing it like that. And it reaches down, grabs this, and then places it back. And it needs an observer to do that. Okay, not a problem. I remember now. It's all coming back to me from the days of old. Yeah, so putting this immediately on here like this, probably not the best way to do this. We can... Oh, you know what we might be able to do? Something. Let's see here. This will... I think this will be one of those things where it will reach down, grab the block, and then place it back. That's the idea. All right, let's put the button here because we're going to be spamming that a lot. Let's get some dust right here. Good. Pulls it up. And then if I use an observer on this, it will pick it up and drop it off. That means this has to be glass. If I'm not mistaken. Let's try it. See if the glass insulates against that. So when I do this, nope, it doesn't at all. Okay, so I guess this sort of reaches over and does that kind of a thing. That I would not have expected, but I'm probably overthinking this in a way. This goes here. That goes there. How about if we do this? We could go this way with said observer. Like that. I think that's a good way to go. Like this. And just for, we could do that for now. So we get that kind of thing. It sees it and here's the output, right? Now that being said, we might be able to do something like that, but I think this is going to be a little bit too tall, so it's going to have to come down. Maybe right about to there. I think that'll do it. Now, we could use some redstone dust here. If we can't, we can use a target block. Let's see what happens. That's perfect. Absolutely perfect. We could also use a target block here. Target block should also work. I like it. You know what? I think I've just compacted this a lot more than I've had it in other areas of the Thunder, please. Hey, there's Lone Star. Welcome on in. You can all see the auto shout out up there for fellow buffoon Lone Star. And let me see. How are we doing? We still have about 8 more minutes before the break. Lone, how are you doing today, my friend? Okay. We can now make that work. Not a problem. I like how compact that is, though. That is very cool. All right, now we can put an observer on this. So now this will read when this moves. But off of this, excuse me, we're going to need a T flip-flop off of this because we'll get a double action. That observer below will read the block being lifted, and then it'll read again with the block being put down, and we only need it to be read once. Of course, we might build the anti-spam right into this as well, but for the moment, no. Let's not. Did I build a T flip-flop into this? I don't think I did. Gee, I don't know, Thunder. That's pretty compact. That's basically what I did over there, except it's sideways. Yeah, I didn't do anything new there, people. I did the same old thing. But because my memory is so bad, I got to enjoy it twice. I could do this kind of thing, right? And have the T flip-flop on that end. I could do that with the rails. I'm lost. I just lost myself down here. Where's... Is that it? Way over there? Yeah, it is. Okay. So yeah, one of the things we could do with this is to do this kind of thing with the rail. This is a common Thunderhand thing to do. Not in that I made it, but certainly, but more like a thing that I use a lot. So you can see if we pop up through here, you can see that fire like that. Now get rid of that. Now here we might use a clock. We might. It depends on whether we want this to be a one-time event in the game or not. Because there is the possibility, again, that the player will come back to this and forget this feature. There's certainly not going to be a sign on here that's going to say, dead end number 14, a Ravager, you know? So if they find themselves back in this, again, you know, do we want them to be able to... Do we want this to activate again? And I think the answer to that is yes. And since it's not on a command block, that means a little bit of redstone, but we have a system in place for that over here with this kind of a clock here that we've made for this. Actually, we have it right here, right? So I'm thinking probably not with this. So I'm thinking we want a T flip-flop on this. That's what these things are here. Okay, so the power comes up through the observer, from the observer into the copper bulb, and then the comparator, and then out to the piston. So that would mean off of this copper bulb, and then we would get maybe something like that. It's kind of cool having all this other redstone nearby, because we can just select off of it anything we should so happen to need. I think this goes this way, right? And for the moment, I'm going to do that just so I can reach this button. Okay, so you can see where, even though we have a double action, we get a single pulse coming out. See how we get a single pulse and not a double pulse? That's what that beautiful piece of redstone does for us. Okay, and now we have to think... We have to think about this and a clock. Now, if I just wanted this to be a one-time thing, I would use a piston of the non-sticky variety. Uh-oh. We spawned a Ravager. Yeah, there he goes. Yeah, we've established that works. Okay, good. I'm good, and how are you? I am doing excellent, my friend. I know you've been busy working. But I miss having you around, dude. I really do. But then again, we've Buffoon Skies coming up on Saturday, huh? That's gonna be cool. Okay, all right, now normally I would put the piston in this direction, but I think we need some room for a clock here. One of the other things we might want to do is send the orientation this way. But again, you know, we always have to think, like, what's on the other side of this? All right, no dead ends here, so that's good. We do have this over in this area, so we do have to stay away from there, because we're going to need some redstone, some room for redstone over there. So going out this way is not a problem. Also, going out this way is not a problem at all. So we could consider that too. In fact, that's probably the better option. Done. Yeah. Something like that. And we can get those out of the way for now. Okay, so this is cool. And then I'm thinking, let me see. Oh, well, I have a sticky piston, so I don't have to deal with that. I actually... Yeah, that's what I want there, because we know that's going to happen. And again, we want a one-time pulse. This pushing in and then coming out. Now, right now, that's going to be a pretty easy thing to do. we would just do something like this. Maybe put a rapida like right there, and then grab some dust, and we would just come right around to here like this. Maybe put a 1 tick delay on there. Maybe. Let's see what we need. Okay, so that would work. But what I would like to have happen is we could put an observer chain over here, so this will drop off the block. And so it would keep the block here. And then after a certain amount of time, we would get another signal come in, and that would retract the block. And that should keep the player from spamming the block. The thing is, we would need two pistons of the non-sticky variety, like that. So one would push it into place, the other would retract it. So the other one would be here. So the pulse would come through, this would drop that off. And then if they tried to hit the button again, they could, but since that's not a sticky piston, it's not going to be able to pull the block back and fire it again. So there is that. So that part works. And now we would have also a timer counting down here. Then after a certain amount of time, a pulse would come through to this one, push the block back over there to reset it. I think that's the best way to go. Okay, so just before we head on to our 3-minute ad break, I would like to welcome on in Princess Tiny One. How you doing? And of course, fellow buffoon Adora. You can see the auto shoutouts up there for both Lone Star and Dora. Please go check them out when you get a chance. Okay, the timing is such that we now need to take our 3-minute ad break so we can disable the ads for folks joining the stream. Let us do that, and we'll be back in about maybe 3 minutes. Hey there, welcome back. Okay. We were putting in the anti-spam feature into our button. And let me see. There's a couple of things that we can do here. Trying to retrain my brain. Yeah, good luck, right? Okay. We said that at some point this needs to be an observer. And so we can get it to drop this block off. That's where we were at. There she is. Now this, I don't think, yeah, this I wouldn't want to be a, this I wouldn't want to be a, T flip-flop for this. If this double pulses, it's not a big deal because it's not a, you know, sticky piston. One of those things. Thunder, please. So I think we can get away with doing something like this. So that should now, because it's an observer, it should drop that block off. Well, I mean, it's going to drop it off anyway because it's a... Yeah, so we don't even need an observer there. Oh, what am I doing? Come on, Thunder, please. Brains. It was a late night last night. Oh, I forgot about the Ravager. Hey there, fella. Yeah, I'm sorry, but you're in the way. Okay. In fact, what I usually do at this point is I'll just simulate the redstone with a piece of wool like that so it won't keep activating. Yeah, that's good enough. And for this one, I might even be able to do just a single tick. Okay, good. But that... Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah, this is fine. This is fine just like this. Let me see. This, is there enough room? For me to output that in that direction. There would be a block here, there'd be a comparator here. You know us redstoners. But this would cause a redstone signal to come into that repeater through the side, and that might not be a cool thing. This doesn't really help. I think this is going to be fine. We'll just leave it as is. That should be fine. I wanted to do something cool there, and I'm just not cool enough for that. Okay, so this needs to happen immediately, but then we need a countdown timer And then we need a signal to come into that afterwards. And that's what this is for over here. So let me see. Signal will come into that side. We need to build this with the hoppers. The good thing is, you know, this stuff being modular, we have the stuff right here. We just need to copy it over. All right, so we do have the T flip-flop here with the signal coming off of it. Now, do I lay it out this away with the superfluous medial vowel? I don't think that's going to be enough room in which to fit the clock. It probably won't. Now, this is going to come off the butt end of an observer. And then the observer will start the clock system. Let's hit target on this. F3. That's just a regular piston. Also just a regular piston. Right, and then we have the same clock over here, which this clock is probably a little bit easier to read as far as copying it over, just because there's not so much junk around it. So we have a signal coming in like this to activate this. This is probably also a regular piston, right? Yeah. And then that pushes it back afterwards. My output happens to be on that side, on the far side of that. The good thing about this one, though, is I have the comparator coming off the side. And the amount of blocks. Yeah, you know what? We're going to need to give it some room. We are going to need to give it some room. So I'm thinking I might actually want to come off this way and bring it around and down to there. Maybe. Maybe, baby. Okay, so T flip-flop will put a pulse out through there. In fact, but it needs a comparator, right? So let me see. And then that pulse should go right into that piston. And I'm thinking, yeah, I know, long pause because I'm thinking. I'm wondering, should I go this way with it? There's no harm in going that way with it. It's this way is a little shaky. We do have some. We need to leave some redstone over here, so we gotta be wary of that. So yeah, I think let's continue in this direction. Good. Good. Let's load up some hoppers. Okay, that's good. Then off the back side of that hopper, we need another piston that looks like it's going to be right about there for the return, right? Now this is a reset side and that's an output side, right? So output side, we would want to be over here, and output is on the, do I have it on the first one or on the second one? Yeah, I have it on the first one as the output side. Okay. Hawk. Done. Okay. Comparator. And we did say the first one. Brain, please. We did say the first one. And we have that. Okay, so this should be reading this comparator. That hopper. That comparator should be reading, but I actually do want it set up on the second one. Baba! Please, Bob, please. Yeah, it was a long night last night. I did not sleep well at all. There we go. That's better. Now the output for this will come around and go to there. Yeah. Yeah, that should do that. Wow, is that really 3 blocks over from there? And this, we can hit this from the bottom if we do it right. It's a pretty big if. Just by doing a little something like that with our repeater going right into there, like that. That should do us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, okay, so we're well within the limits of a redstone dust. Like that. Okay, now we need the return mechanism on the back of this. It also reads the... Okay, it's got to read the front hopper. So I need to remake this. Comes off of there, this reads the comparator. That reads that, and it goes up to the piston. Got it. Hopefully. Well, we'll see if I have it or not. Now we need piston being... hopper being read by that. We do need observer here, like this. Target block right there with a little splash of redstone right there, and that should do it. So the idea is the first signal will come down and go through here and push the redstone block into place, activating the dispenser. And then it doesn't matter if they spam the button because it's not a sticky piston, so this won't reset. This will just keep pushing up against the block, but the block won't go anywhere, so it's good. And also, it will split off in this direction, activating the clock, and then after the clock is ready to go, it will then send the signal down this way and push the block back and reset it so the player can use it again. We just need to set the travel of this. Right, so let's do this. And just initially, let's just load that into there. There we go. Now, actually, you know what we should do? Let's do this first. You'll see where I'm going here. What I need to do is I need to see how much to put into this. Now, I did have a formula I worked out for the math of this, but that was a long time ago. But we can just load these in and then see how many redstone blocks it'll take to get it down to there. So let me see. Let's do this. And let's load these in by 8s. Oh, yeah. You know, that's going to help. Okay. One of the other things I like to do too is when we're counting, I like to use these. Normally, I have a data pack that'll show the redstone output level on these, because sometimes if it's faint, it doesn't glow as bright, and it's hard to see whether it's actually on or not. Whereas if I do this, I can actually see that. Let's get rid of that. Will this go back in my inventory slot when I do that? I don't think so. Well, kind of, right? Yeah, one of the things I don't like about this is that both of these light up. This one can power the one next to it. Not handy. How could I do this? Can I count it with redstone torches? Maybe like... Oh, wait a minute. I think I know what to do. I think I know what to do. Either target blocks onto these or just regular blocks. Because I think if I do that, yeah. Okay, that's how that works. Now, it should be... How far should this go before I get an extra... There we go. 23. There we go. Now, it depends on how long we want this to take, right? So if you don't want to work out the math, you can just do this. And just trial and error it like this. So it should be another 23, right? So 46? Yeah, 46. And then it should be another 23 more. So 69. Which is bigger than 64. So we're going to need to do that.
What are you doing?
I'm mathing it. But I should probably have the display switched over. I think that's what Lone's trying to tell me. There. Now you can actually see what I'm doing. Thunder. Please. Please. You know, I supposedly have been doing this streaming thing for quite some time. I know. One of the things I've been trying to do is when I come back from the break, not to do the camera scene, just go directly to the display. So I avoid that, but I have Lone Star. I have a Lone Star in the stream, so I don't have to worry about that. Thanks, buddy. Let's see. So this is what I've been doing while on camera scene. The way you can work the timing of this clock out is to load it with a certain number of cobblestone. So by the time the cobblestone makes it from here all the way over into there, it will send the pulse through. And depending on how much cobblestone you load with this will depend on how much time it takes to load over there. And you can set that by setting this distance of the redstone dust, right? And so right now we just set this over to the side here because we're just loading it in to see how much we need to make it reach, right? And then say we wanted to go 3 of these like this before we want it to reset. You can then just put a repeater like that in there for the rest. And then you can see it'll do this, right? And then activate it. Now, when we do activate it, we do want a, again, we want a, oh, that will also help do that, won't it? Because when I do this, that will retract. Good. All right. So all right, let's check it out. Okay, so we want it to go 3 of these, which is going to be what, 60, 69 we said, right? So that's going to be 64 and 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like this. All right, so that's preloaded. So now when a signal comes in here, it's going to load this up into there, and then these will start moving over. When all of those are moved over, this will be sufficiently powered to reach here in this repeater, and then it will activate that and reset it. And let's just watch that happen first before we try it with a redstone block. So let's do that. Okay, so it puts that in place. Now you can see that this is counting down here now. It's filling up, I should say, right? And when all 69 of these are over into here, this signal will be powerful enough to reach here. And it should count that down. And it's done. Okay. And then this is resetting. That doesn't seem like quite enough time for me. I want that to go a little bit longer. So we can just move this repeater on down the line to make that last longer, right? So, and each one of these will be 23, right? So now we're going to have our 69 plus another 23. 60, 20, that's going to be 80, and then 9 and 3 is 92 is what we're going to need next. But a better way to do that is just to do that. Just stick it in there like that. Right? So let's try it again. And we'll see if we get enough power to reach over to here. There we go. Now remember, our Ravagers already spawned by this time. The player's running away and stuff. I don't think that they have really enough time to do that. So they can't really spam the button there yet. This is counting down, and that now is retracted. Okay, that should be enough. It's not quite as smooth in action as I want there, but it works. Now it's reset. Now after that amount of time, the player can press it again. I would have noticed earlier, but I've reinstalled OBS and set everything back up again. Oh. I gotta sit up straight here. I'm slouching again. I'm streaming like this. Hey, everybody. Nope, nope. Oh, there we go. I think that's enough time. I don't know. If I wanted to, I could just keep bumping this down until we get it to there and just keep loading 23s into here. I really don't think that the player's going to get another chance to really spam that. I had some sound issues that I couldn't fix. Oh, yeah, you know, that was me about 2 weeks ago when we had that last Windows update. It didn't really nuke my settings. It just like reset everything. So I had to go back and you know, with this streaming stuff, there are so many audio sources. Plus, you know, I have the Zoom L12, which has its audio source settings and stuff for the audio interface. And I'm running 2 PCs and stuff. And it's like, so you have to go through all of those audio settings to try to set them all back up again. It's like, Windows, please. Please, can you just not ever do that again? And you know, I only have to do that about like once a year or something. So I don't do it often enough where I have it memorized. And I think this is enough. I think this is enough time for the reset button. You know what would probably give this the action that I want? Is maybe an observer here. I mean, having this engaged here while this is still powered isn't really a big deal, because the idea is we don't want the player to push the button and be able to set the block. I think what I would do is I don't know, maybe put the anti-spam feature in here somewhere. That might be the better thing to do. But then the clock would have to go up there, which isn't that big of a deal, but I don't know. I think this is going to be okay. All right, let's find out what happens when we spam the button. Let's try to spam the button. So I hit the button like this, and then I try to hit the button again. I don't think anything happens. Like this can't do anything, right? It can't like reset because the block's already over here. If I keep doing this, it doesn't change this at all. It can't do anything there, right? Yeah, it doesn't reset this in any kind of way. And see, the player still can't spam the button at that point. Now, something wonky could happen here at this point, I'm thinking. So by the time this is reset here, I want that to reset at the same time. So we might be able to like do something in retract mode if we have to, but I don't think so. We could also have an inverse thing too. When the torch, we could set up like, you could do something like here, right, with a comparator, like this, on that side, or maybe on this side like this, with a let's Thunder, please, and use an inverter. Might be a way, right? Like this. Right. Now this would be an on signal, right? But it could feed back into this. And then when this shuts off, or the inverter wouldn't be here, the inverter could possibly be here. But I think we're good, though. I think we're good. This is one of those things I think we're going to have to try. We're going to have to see what the players do. The contestants do. If the contestants are spamming the button and it's breaking it and causing problems, but I'll be honest with you, I don't think they're going to get a chance to spam the button. That's what I'm thinking. You know what? Just for laughs, let's try to put the observer in here. But I'm thinking when this is counting down, yeah, so we're going to have to put in a repeater so it reads the repeater, because otherwise when this is losing its signal, this will keep firing every time this changes its state, right? So there is that. Whereas it's coming out through here, it won't do that. It might be something like that. Let's see what happens here now. Now, once this passes through here, the observer should see it and fire that. And we should see this. Should get a little more powerful. There it goes. Push the block back. But that hasn't pushed back. So you know what? I want this to go a little bit further, I'm thinking. So this is happening a little too soon. Also, we're going to get a third fire when this comes out now because that's going to shut off. But it's okay. It won't see this because this is kind of preventing that signal from getting through because it has to be strong enough to reach here. That's the idea. By the way, this works just fine the way it is. I gotta stop slouching here. Thing is, if you look closely, even though the background's dimmed because I have the cursor over the hopper, yeah, see, now it's reset, technically. But the player can't spam the button
yet. Okay, that's actually not a bad deal. Now, if the player tried to hit the button again, though, this hasn't reset yet. So there is that downside to this. So I have it reading off the second hopper. Maybe I should have it reading off the first hopper. But if I have it reading off the first hopper, then the player can affect it again, right? All right. I'm going to leave this for now. I think this will be okay. If we run, I really don't think that the player is going to get a chance to spam this button again. And I'm about to show you why. Let's do this. Huh. Oh, we don't have a redstone block in place. Thunder! Thunder, please. All right, so we get to watch this happen again. Brain. If you could just, we're in this together, you know. If you could just help a brother out here, you know what I'm saying? Okay. I might tweak this a little bit off camera. I might. Make that run a little smoother. But I think for now we've got it. Good. Now, again, survival mode. Baby zombies. Rushes down here. Baby zombies. What am I going to do? I press this. Oh my god. Runs here. Oh, this thing's actually pretty fast. Now, the thing about the Ravager, though, is if you get around a corner, he might not be able to see you. Wow, it looks like he can. Whoa! Can this dude see through walls? Uh-oh. This is not going to be cool. Oh, you can juke him. Okay. Oh, see? Now, we got this far away. I think we're good. Now, the thing is, though, he hasn't despawned. So if we're like, oh my god, maybe something happens, and we come back this way, and guess who's waiting? He might not see us. Whoa! Okay. But that's cool. I think that's all right. I think we can leave that as is. I think we can leave that as is. Oh, yeah, okay, cool. Let's do this. There. All right. We've given ourselves the night vision now. And now we can come on over to here like this. And let us... You know what we can do, though? And this is what I was trying to do. I was trying to do the control middle mouse wheel. There. Now I should get a duplicate of that sign. Yeah, there we go. See? This one is, what, 14? There we go. Okay, this we can copy down into here. As a matter of fact, let us just put this like right here. There we go. Good. Okay, I like that. Now, we didn't do something stupid like this button powers that, right? No, we're good? Okay. Let's also make sure that we've cleaned up under here. I think we're good. Yeah, okay. How am I doing here? 152. We're almost at the end of the stream anyway. Nope, that's not what I want to do. I want to do that. Put this here and go 14. Ravager. Okay, a couple of things we need to do. One of the things I was thinking about, we have this feature here, Dead End Baby Zombie Spawner. I think we need a few of these throughout the maze. I was thinking one thing that may occur is that the player jukes the baby zombies die or whatever, and then the player is left running through the maze without any baby zombies. It would not be Baby Zombie Rush without baby zombies. There must be baby zombies. So we need some baby zombie replenishment. And so, let me see, we're not quite ready to end the stream yet. Let's do this. Let's reset the playlist. Let's go back to Messenger and Limbo. Let's do that. There we go. Because we have a few more minutes of the stream. This Dead End Baby Zombie Spawner, we need, I'm thinking 4 of those. Right? So I'm thinking, let's do this. Let's pick out some locations. That one's in Dead End 6. So we need about 3 more of these. Dead End 6, that must be down around here. 4. No, I was close. 4, 5. That's 8. still 8. Okay, 4 is 6 down here somewhere. No. Seven. Okay, let's get down to here. 12. Okay, 6 must be in this area somewhere then. I forget the order in which I placed these. Okay, I'm just flying around randomly at this point, just looking for redstone. Here we are. Baby zombie dispenser. Okay, we can actually... Let's do that. So we have one right here in this part of the maze. So I'm thinking, let's just do quadrants, like one right around there, one right around here. We already have one here towards this end. This one's kind of like in the middle. Let's do, well, you can kind of think of the entrances being one already. So I'm thinking it's one right around in this area. Maybe one in this area somewhere. So let's find an as of yet unassigned did end. Okay, this one might be a good one. Although it is kind of central though. I would like one down around here somewhere. But I don't think I have any more dead ends down here. That one's taken. That one's taken. This one is not, but it's kind of close to this one already. Right? This one's right over here. Yeah, it's kind of close. So I think this is our next candidate right here. So we have one there. It's kind of the entrance. We could maybe put one here. Maybe one in the very far corner over there, and maybe one right around here. We could do that too, and just say, you know what, we have enough stuff going on there. Like, this might be a good candidate. Let's do this. Okay, so 22. I think we're going to need one somewhere around here. Although, wow, we do not have a lot of dead ends around here. But this will also cut down the number of dead ends we have to make, too. 22, 24. So 22, 24, and then one down in here somewhere. $13, huh? This might be a good one. 10. Even though I have the button for 10, 10 needs to go here. Maybe something like that. Plus, I have to be wary of where I put these because we do have the open area that needs to be built in this maze somewhere. Okay, so what were the ones that we chose? I think it was 10, 22, and 24, right? That's why I put the signs on top so we could see them a little easier. And you know what? It's not helping. Definitely 24 is right there. Done. I thought 22 was down here somewhere. Here it is. (22) and 10. Okay, so let's get back. Now 10 was supposed to be Nuke, but we'll move Nuke on down the line. And I realized that these are supposed to be spruce, and I have them as a mangrove. It'll be fine. Okay, and so I want to have this in place so I'll remember next time. So we'll make these, all of these together. We may not be able to do them all in one stream. But at some point, we're going to have to pick out where the open area is going to be. Because the open area is a pretty big deal. I'm thinking maybe somewhere around here. But we'll see. But I like this. All right, we've made another one. Let us just say 15 might be the Nuke. Maybe. We'll see. So when we come back, we have two things that we need to do. Two things that we can choose. We can install the rest of the baby zombie dispensers. And I'm wondering if I should do that off camera or not. Because we've already built one, so you've seen that in past videos, past streams. So I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe I should just install those off camera. And then the next one we should do is maybe drop into the void. But that will do it for now, everyone. Let's wrap up this stream, shall we? Okay, we shall log off. One thing I did want to mention that I have not mentioned in the stream yet, or I did very, very briefly, I touched upon it, hinted at it, but I want to make certain that I do and make a formal and complete announcement. Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time will be the launch of Buffoon Crafts miniseries
Buffoon Skies 2. Yes. Now, I will not be streaming that. I'll be recording it. And also, I may be late to that party. Kachi has a parent meeting at his school that I have to attend. If Mrs. Thunderhand turns out to be on call that day and she's not working, she's probably going to go in and cover that for me. Maybe I'll be able to launch on time. If not, I'll probably be about maybe 3 hours late to that. The rest of the buffoons will be streaming that. Several of them will be streaming that. So I'm recording it only because I want the buffoons to be able to be free with their speech. And if I'm recording it, I'm already resigned to the fact that I'm going to edit the video. So it's not a big deal, right? And so I'm really looking forward to the interaction. And I don't want them to be too self-conscious about their speech, so it can be as funny as possible. Let me see. So that will be, again, that'll be Saturday at 11 a.m. So thank you, everybody, for joining me today. I really like a stream where we accomplish stuff that feels really good. Just remember that we do this Buffooncraft stream every Wednesday. Buffooncraft, this generation stream, every Wednesday from noon to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. will be Buffooncraft SMP Season 6. And remember, Saturday, 11 a.m. Will be the launch of Buffoon Skies. Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time should be Kachi time. Kachi's been very, very busy lately, and we haven't been able to stream Kachi time. So we'll see what's going on Sunday, and that should wrap it up for this week. Let's see if there's anybody to whom we can raid out. I wasn't planning on that, but let's see who's around. Maybe I can do a raid and run. Let's see. Following, or any of our friends still on at this point? Skip is on and Jeannie's on. You know what? I have not raided a Jeannie in ages. Let's do that, shall we? Okay. Let us put the raid message up. There, you should see the raid above you in the chat. You can copy and paste that into the chat if you would like to join us along on this raid to Cheska's Genie. I always encourage the viewers to join us on these raids, even if you can't stay for the entire stream. At least drop in and say hi, and if you feel so inclined, a follow, some bits, a sub would be really, really cool. Let's set up the raid itself. Now, Cheska has a very weird spelling now. It's not so bad. Let's see. Underscore. Capital D, B, E. I think it's like that. Okay, it doesn't like that. What did I not type right? Not C. It is a K. / raid. There it is. E like that. There it is. There's the raid counting on down. Family-friendly viewers, be reminded that Cheska's stream is intended for mature audiences. There's some language and stuff in there, some shenanigans, but she is super cool. We have a lot of shared community, so chances are there are people in there that you will know. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you happen to be. Join us next time, raiding out to Cheska. No. Bye for now, everyone.